Okay, let's go over the supplies that we need for this. I sent over a long, skinnier piece of paper. I thought it would be fun to try a different format. So we have our paper. We need a pencil. Where's my pencil? Here's a pencil. We need some watercolors. Or, you could use acrylics on these if you water them down quite a bit. Okay, so that would work. And you need paint brushes, variety of sizes. I've got a whole bunch here. We need 2 bowls of water. One we're going to stay clear water, one we're going to use for our cleaning our paint brushes, and we'll see if I can remember to only stick my paintbrush into one. If you're using acrylics or tube watercolors, you need your standard paper plate and then paper toweling. I'm looking around to make sure I've got, we'll need more supplies in the second step, but I believe that's what we need for the first step. Now, you can use whatever color palette you want. Lately I've been kind of into the earth tones. So I pulled out some of the earth tones. This blue is a little bright, but I can also mix a little bit of Payne's gray with it to make it a little earthier too. Okay, so the purpose of this art project, I'm going to set these over here, besides, having fun, is just to work with some organic shapes and watercolors to make like little compositions. And I don't know if you can see the lines. I want you to just use ovals and circles, different size, to kind of build a composition. And I have them leaning on each other, being balanced on each other, so that they are cohesive, right? I don't have something here and then something here and then something here. I've got them kind of leaning together. And the way that I did that is I took my pencil and just sketched out. These do not have to be perfect. I kind of think of these as giving the feel of rocks. And as you know, rocks are not perfectly oval. They're not perfectly round. So you don't have to worry about that in your drawing. But we want to start in the center and then work out. Okay. Now I started in the center and then worked to the left because I'm left-handed, and that's just my natural direction. But so I marked to start. I just made a little mark on the edge with my pencil so that and I didn't measure or anything. I just kind of eyeballed it. Again, because this is kind of loose. Okay. And so make a mark in the center, and then I started with this kind of oval shape. Didn't put it up straight up. We want everything to be just like a little off. Okay. So what I'd like for you to do is, so then I went with another oval shape and balanced a circle on top of it. And then to change things up, I did a bigger circle. Then I came over here and did a circle here, kind of a medium-sized circle, and made it close enough that I then put another circle here that's kind of balanced between this first oval and this circle. Did kind of an oval shape here with an oval shape balance between the two, the circle and the oval. And then I decided to end it here with kind of a flat bottom shape balancing on its neighbor here. And then just for fun, just to do it something a little bit different, to end it, I had a floating circle up here. Okay. So you don't have to follow what, you can do whatever you want in terms of your composition, but the way that I did it, it kind of all ties together and makes sense rather than being random. And so you can just play around with it. Okay? So you might want to turn off the video and just work with your composition and then turn it back on when you are ready to start painting. Okay, well, I hope that you had fun with that. And now we'll start the painting. And like I said, I want to have fun with this and not be too fussy about what we're doing here. So I'm going to show you the technique, and then you can go for it and have fun. There we go. So this is kind of a, I want this to be a little more of a brown than a pinkish. So you can mix up your own colors if you want, use whatever you want. Let's see how we're going with that. I'm going to take the end of one of my brushes that I'm probably not going to use. Kind of mix that up. Okay, I think that will be okay once I get some water on it, which I'm about to do. So you can just kind of play around with your colors, or if you've decided that you want to use the cake watercolors, that's fine. You can use the watercolors that are a part of your set. Okay, so as usual, you want to make sure that everything is mixed together. Okay, that looks better. So what we're going to do is take a medium-sized brush, and we are going to, we've done this before, we're going to paint our first shape. Oh, don't know where this is coming from. It's like flakes of paint hiding around in my brush. Okay. Because as we've done in previous projects, we want to have your paint kind of just go naturally. So don't overbrush it. Like I like that, what is happening there. So that's nice and wet. I like this lighter space here. Okay. So then I'm going to introduce another color. Onto my wet, right? So this is why it's important for you to have your palette kind of picked out prior to starting your painting. So we're going to have just a little bit of that, okay, on there. Kind of give it a little bit of a darker edge. then I'm going to go with this darker. Okay, so again, doesn't have to be perfect. So now I'm going to go with a burnt sienna. Just kind of a reddish brown. And I'm going to, whoopsie, make sure that I've got plenty of water because I really want these two to kind of merge together with some color. So we're painting with our water again. Again, I'm having some flakes show up that I don't know where they've come from. And I'm going to put just a little more water where these two meet, okay? And then we'll see what happens. Ah, that's exactly what I wanted to have done. That's interesting how that did that. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, when we're doing this work, you have to give up control, which is a really difficult thing for me to do when I'm working, but it's all good. So now I'm going to go back in and put a little bit of black here. You know, I don't really want to mess with that. Look at this, it's still going. Kind of looks like a crack in an egg or something. Okay. I like how this black is sort of moving around. So when I'm painting, you notice I'm going with the shape, so the paint is kind of going with the shape too. And I think what I want to do is go back here. Just to give it a little more contrast. So you don't want to worry this too much. But you can go back and there, I like that a little more, the shading. Okay, so I think I want to start introducing a little more color in here. So I'm going to go with this is a hooker's green. See, this composition is obviously a one of a kind. Oh, look what this is doing. Well, this is fun. Anyway, so I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush since I'm about ready to do my littler circle here. Okay, so I painted it, and the paint is already sort of seeping over there, which is pretty cool. So now I'm gonna add add some green on there. See what it does. Okay, so this is running just a little bit, so I am going to put the kibosh on that going too far. And then you can get some different effects by loading your brush with color and then poking at it. So you can use your brush as an interesting tool as well. So I like to think about this is that you're making like little organic compositions. Like each one of these is like a little painting in and of itself, but the way that you have it designed, drawn, is that it then kind of all works together too, through color, through technique, and through the way that you have your shapes. Okay. That's really funny. One of my dogs is sleeping and having a dream by my feet. Must be a good dream. I don't know if you can hear him or not, but my dogs are my best artist assistants. So I'm going to have this one be gray, white, and black. So we'll see how that goes. Play around with that. Okay, so I'm back to my larger brush. Okay, and I'm going to start with the white, which obviously you won't be able to see right now. And then go with the black. Kind of see how that goes. I'm kind of poking at it so it can tell me what it wants to do. I'm liking that. It's still moving around. You can move your sheet a little bit if you want. Particularly if you don't like what's happening. This is kind of interesting how these little lines popped up as well. Okay, we'll add another shade here. And then I am going to give it a little shot of blue. I have no idea if this will work or not. It's an experiment. Put that blue right in this mess. See what it does. It's getting a little puddly there, so I don't know if puddly is a word, but go on with it. There we go. I'll smooth that out a little bit. And then if you want, you can soak up a little bit of the water if it's just too much water. And kind of get rid of all of that. You can also draw some of that puddle out if you want to. Okay, that one looks pretty interesting. Doesn't quite have the contrast. So I'm going to put some black on here. That I want. There we go. That looks better. So let's go back as these are drying and kind of take a look at what we've got. Okay, interesting. Use these because I don't want the paper. As long as your paper is wet, you should keep it as flat as possible. Okay, so we've got this kind of blue here and the green. So what we want to do to balance this out is that we also want the blue and green to be represented somewhere on this. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the outside. It can be these two, but that's just a matter of balance. So I'm going to turn off the video and let you play again, and then I'll check back in after I've got mine painted, and we'll kind of go over what happened. All right, and make sure that you get clean water occasionally. Okay, so I have all of my shapes finished here. And now this is actually going to be a 2-week project, I think, because this needs to be really, really dry before we do the second step. And you can't use a hair dryer because it will mess around with the paints. Now, what I first did is already dried, so you can sort of see the finished. This one I went over it a little bit with some red, and then I went over here so you can see how wet it is. So you need to just leave it in a place and let it dry. And then if you have some heavy, once it's dry, not before, but if you have heavy books to put on it, that will smooth out the paper, and that will make our second layer easier to pull off. So we'll see you at the next lesson, where we will be putting other little designs and that kind of thing on using marker and paint pen and that kind of thing on it. Thank you.